Oh, hey! What's up, guys? How are you? Good morning. It's Henry. Mowers and blowers. Another beautiful day today here in Long Island, New York. And as usual, my daily routine. People buy things on my eBay overnight. I wake up and cha-ching, cha-ching, I see dollar signs all over the place. What I do dread is that a lot of the parts that I sell on eBay, I haven't seen in sometimes years or months, you know? And sometimes I look at that part and I go, I don't know the first place I would look for that thing, you know? Before I had a shelving organized system, before I just threw parts into that big bin of parts, you know, and I don't know, some things, crazy things like linkages and governors from different, not, yeah, maybe 100 mowers, you know what I mean? So I have no idea where they are, but fortunately, I remember bagging them, you know, in an area, you know. So this is, somebody paid me $28. I don't even know what this is. I think it's the outer cover for a Poulan Pro chainsaw, right? With the accompanying, you know, hardware, ball bearings, screws, nuts, linkages, spark plug remover, levers, you know, whatever. Somebody needs it, see? So I don't throw it away. Tecumseh Enduro 13.5 horsepower engine double stack pulley. The Tecumsehs are a little bit different. They're smaller in height, smaller in diameter on the pulleys. And I kept it. And somebody paid me $28 for this. Of course, I have to pay shipping to ship it out, so it's not that much, you know. Plus eBay, PayPal fees, they take a portion too, you know, 2%, 3%, something like that. Anyway, as you guys know from yesterday's episode, I got my ghetto tent fixed. It's holding up pretty well. It's nice and tight. And the good thing about this tarp is that it has grommets every 18 inches or so. So you're able to basically tie down every little bit of it, you know. So it's on there. It's on there well and tight. And the tarp is very heavy duty though, you know. It's very, very strong, which is why I paid $15 for it, because you can get a tarp for like $5 or something, you know. But I paid $15 for this one, and it's strong, you know, really strong. It'll last a couple of years for sure. The bottom part will give way before the top does. The top is strong. So this is good. This will do for a while until I get rid of my snowblowers. Ha! Like I'm going to get rid of snowblowers. I've decreased my prices. As you can see over here, I've got 2 truck drives. I had them listed for $500 at one time. It's down to like $100. Still nobody wants it, you know? I had a guy who offered me $80 for it. I'm like, okay. Still hasn't come and gotten it. Today I'm going to button up my Murray. He doesn't like the camera with all the attachments on it. Thinks it's a monster. So today I'm going to try to button this up, and so I can get this out of the garage and into my backyard and then list it for sale. I probably won't list this for very much because it is rough. It does need new blades, I believe, but I don't know if I have, you know, matching blades that would fit. I would need 20-inch blades, right? I think I might have some, but I think I might just want to sell this as is, you know. It runs and mows fine. It's just, I think you need new blades eventually. Also, as you guys know, it doesn't have any foot pads, right? It's been ripped off or something like that. Both sides need foot pads. And also, the brake pad. This thing is trashed, right? But then when I was in the shed, I was looking through the box of parts from the Murray that I just took apart. Remember, I tore down the Murray just recently, and I said, I'm not going to throw these foot pads away because I might need them someday. Well, I'm going to put those on there, even though they're not exactly the same. I'm still going to put it on there. And also, I have a brake pad, brake foot pad. It's a little bit broken, but I could put a zip tie here to tighten it, and this is sure going to be better than that. You know what I mean? So you see, minor improvements from stuff that I was about to throw away. I don't know what this guy put on here, but it's really on here. That doesn't fit. Needs some trimming. Otherwise it won't fit. It's a little different. I'll do some trimming. Holy cow. How about that, fellas? What you think of that? Isn't that amazing what that turned out to be? So as you saw, I siliconed those foot pads on there, trimmed them to fit. Fits very well. Also got that brake pedal foot pad on there. And it turned out way better than I thought. You know what I mean? Had maybe a tenth left of that quick color black paint. I really spread it out, you know what I mean? So wiped it down with ATF, especially around the plastics area. It was so faded and stuff. But that ATF, while it doesn't last for more than a few days, right? It's great to put on right before you show it to somebody or when you're taking pictures, because it really looks great. Like this thing is almost new, you know, but then after a few days, it does fade, you know, back to where it was. But it definitely does recondition it a little bit better. The plastics need some type of oil to be absorbed in there to make it more pliable. And it looks great, you know, it helps clean it too, you know what I mean? So as you saw here, sprayed some of the parts where they're rusty. And honestly, it looks pretty good. The rubber foot pads, the brake rubber pad, the seat, the hood, cleaned up pretty well. Sprayed the back with some paint. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to take this to the backyard now because it's finished pretty much. I'm going to list it for like $375 and take as low as $250. Got to have a lot of room for negotiation, you know what I'm saying? Because if you list it for $250, what are you going to end up getting? $175? You know, $200? So you have to list a little bit higher because people will lowball you like crazy, and that's just the way it is, you know? That's the nature of the business. I'm sorry, the hobby. Don't need to slip. And so this is done. I'm not done for the day, not by a long shot. One of my subscribers, Elmer Hatcher, he's the one who bought my gas tank from the old Murray turd, right? He wants to get his wide body finished up. He has a Black Beauty too, but I think it's red. He showed me some pictures. Anyhow, he also asked me about the lights because he has the hood, what looks like the hood. I mean, there's 3 or 4 different Murray hoods. This is not it. This is not one of them. The one that has the individual square lights, you know, I think the turd one will fit on the Black Beauty type ones, you know. So I have them, and I told him I would send it to him for $20, you know. No big deal. You know, he's a subscriber. I take care of my subscribers like they take care of me. I appreciate it. So a little bit of quid pro quo. You help me out, I'll help you out. Absolutely. So I'm going to go take those lights off of that Murray hood from the turd. I don't anticipate me selling that hood anyway, you know what I mean? So might as well let one of my subscribers benefit from the equipment, right? Anyway, this looks great. I'm going to drive this to the backyard and park it there. At the same time, the silicone's going to cure as well as the paint. And going to take some pictures so I can list it. So while I was just driving it over here, I decided that I was going to engage the PTO and ride around the lawn and see how it mows. So I have an issue. When you lower the deck down, this side tends to stay up more, and that side is almost all the way on the ground. So I'm gonna have to try to balance this. I remember that the Murrays are a pain in the butt to do. So look, I'm gonna drop this all the way down to the bottom. As you can see, this is still like 3 inches. I mean, it's all the way to the bottom. It's still 3 inches there. And this one here, as you can see, is hitting the ground already. So I need to loosen the bolt that holds the deck for that one, right? And drop it all down and then tighten the bolts. That way you know that they're both on the ground at the same time. So it was pretty easy. All I needed was my 1-inch impact. And that was really rusty, so I used some penetrating oil from my friends over at Lucas Oil Products. I sprayed some there. Impact loosened that nut. I dropped the deck all the way down, or like they say in Canada, down. And then just eyeballed it so that the deck was parallel to the ground. Even though this is grass, I measured the distance between this part and the ground. And this part and the ground. I know it's not exact, but if you eyeball it, it's at least leveled more than before, you know. And you can play with it as you go. Like I said, this tractor cleaned up pretty well with just some ATF. Looks presentable now. Looks decent. And then I just tightened the bolt with the impact again. Really pretty easy, actually. So now it's raised up to a proper height. So this is good to go. So now that I'm done with the Murray, I figured I'd come over and mess with the Mantis because I'm very intrigued by it. Even though I have done a rototiller before, you guys remember it was the Ryobi one, and it was pretty easy because all the stuff was there. I just needed to clean the carb, I believe. I ended up selling that thing for about $100 bucks, 150, something like that. And then, of course, I thought to myself, I actually kind of need something like that now because my backyard has so many compacted bald spots, right, that I wanted to till it a little bit. Instead of using that garden weasel that I was doing for the front lawn, you know, how many times I cursed at myself for selling that rototiller. Even though that rototiller's blades was more of a bigger, I don't know how to describe it, but the blades wasn't like these spiky things. It was more like a straight thing like that with a 90-degree angle, you know, almost like a thing that goes like that. And that's like designed to really dig up your, you know, lawn for like a garden or something, to dig like trenches and stuff, which I don't want because I don't want it to be tearing up the yard. I just need it to loosen up the soil so I can get seed in there, you know what I mean, to loosen it up. And these spikes look like they'll do that, you know. And so I've actually watched some videos on Mantises. They're very popular. And it's really cool that I just, you know, when I need it, I find one on the street, you know. This is really old. I couldn't tell you how old it is, but I would say it's pretty old just given the way it looks, you know. And I'm trying to find some kind of a, it is a 2-cycle, and your unit is powered by a 2-cycle Echo engine. You must mix 2.6 ounces of 50-to-1 2-cycle air-cooled engine oil with each gallon of gasoline. I mean, everything looks intact. It's got like this twine wrapped around the wheel. I'll show it to you in a minute, but everything's intact. It's just missing the vent hose because it has a grommet with 3 holes in it, right? And it has only the return line attached to it. It's missing the vent hole. A hose comes out top, like a vent thing, you know, like a mesh filter looking thing, like an air filter. And then the other hole has the fuel line going from the carburetor all the way down to a fuel filter that weighs it down so that it's always at the bottom of the tank to suck the fuel, right? So I think I have the same diameter fuel lines, but one of my subscribers, that pain in the ass, Scott Keller, who everybody loves, but I don't think he cares. I think he likes the attention. Anyway, so he told me that with this, you need the grommet that comes with the 3 hoses, the 3 lines. You can't put it yourself. And I'm like thinking to myself, why not? You just fish it through the holes and make one. I mean, why does it have to come with the 3 and that's the only one you can use? It makes no sense. But I mean, I don't know. Okay, but anyway, I don't have a fuel filter. All right, so I just took this. I have this line, see. And so just for testing, I put this like weighted washer on it. I made sure I didn't pull it too tight so that fuel could still flow through, you know what I mean? And so this weighs it down all the way to the bottom. So I'm going to fish this into the fuel tank, right? And put some 2-cycle Earl in it and try to start it up. Now that I got the Murray all worked out, my next victim is the yard machines that I got from Nick from Medford. It's missing a seat, a battery, a key, that's right, an engine too, and a deck. But I have a seat and an engine in my garage, which I need to get out of there anyway. Got plenty of batteries too. So I guess I can try to put this together real quick and make this a hauler. So I'm going to just push this to the front of the garage. So I pushed it into my garage. It was kind of easy, not really. I'm a little out of breath. So like I said, it's got no engine, see? No seat. No deck. No key, see? But got the seat from the Murray, the turd. Got plenty of batteries for change. Got the engine from the turd that we know works and runs good. So I just put the engine on, put the battery in, put the seat on, and this thing should drive and run. In the meantime, I've spent about an hour trying to get my Mantis Rototiller Cultivator working. As you saw, I removed the entire carburetor and cleaned it. I made my 3 fuel lines, vent, return, and fuel. When I was priming it, the primer bulb split in half and leaked air. But it wasn't getting any gas anyway, so I replaced the primer bulb as well. Cleaned the insides, and the fuel nozzle coming out was blocked with varnish. So I cleaned that out, and now when I push it, fills with fuel, pulls fuel from the gas tank, and shoots fuel back in the return line. As you saw, I also, in the bag of fuel lines that I had, it had a bag of fuel filters too. So I thought I didn't have any, but I had plenty. When I pulled this before the test, I pulled it all out. I had to take this recoil starter back out again and recoil it because my knot wasn't big enough. My knot wasn't big enough. Anyway, I tried 4 spark plugs. None of them have spark. So my problem now is not so much this, not so much that. It's no spark. And I don't have any idea what a new magneto costs. I even detached the kill wire to rule out a faulty kill switch, right? And still had no spark. So my problem is no spark. Thoughts? Leave it in the comments. That's right, a couple of days ago I was just complaining about how I have these big parts in my yard that are just bulking up and nobody's going to want it, so I was going to throw it away. As you saw yesterday, I sold the fender, and today some nut wants to see the hood. As you can see, this tractor has one good black wheel in the back, but that black wheel, even though it looks like it's okay, it's not okay. So I actually have 2 almost brand new wheels that are gray that I'm going to put on there. But the problem was, now I have to paint those gray. However, I just got a guy who says that he wants to buy my yellow wheels for 30 bucks. I told him he can come over and take them off himself and take it away for 30 bucks. And then I have plenty of other wheels. So I just put some gray rims on the tractor now. Didn't take very long at all. It's pretty easy. MTDs are pretty easy to put on. And it's a good thing that this guy actually put some axle grease on there, so it was easy to take off. Some guy's going to come and look at some wheels. I've got like 50 of them. Gonna get rid of some. But that's it for today, guys. Messed with the Mantis a little bit. Couldn't get it going because there's no spark, so I have to do a little bit more research on maybe the magneto, how much it costs and all that, but everything else seems pretty good. I did see that there was a carburetor kit, you know, the entire carburetor, fuel lines, the grommet with the 3-vent return and fuel line, along with gaskets and an air filter. I mean, it was only like $10.50 or something, super cheap, you know. But I'll see how much a magneto costs, because I disconnected the kill wire and pulling it and pulling it, tried 3 different spark plugs. There's no spark, so I think it might be the magneto, but I want to know how much it costs. You know, if it costs too much money, I don't think it's worth it, because I don't really know if it runs or not. You know, it is made by Kyoritz. I looked at the label, and I believe it's made in Japan. It was the same manufacturer that I got that Echo GT200 or something for, and it was very good quality, you know. So hopefully I'll do a little bit of research on that and see whether or not maybe I could get the Mantis going eventually. I've got a weed whacker left to fix, and of course we're up to this now. I decided that we're going to put the engine on here. I changed the wheels so that they all hold air now, and they're all gray. And we'll put the seat on here and battery. So we'll do that tomorrow. But thanks a lot for joining me today. We'll see you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers. Next time on Mowers and Blowers.